Yes, darling.
It was really very similar to what you're saying there. And I was thinking, over the years I've met so many people who have that difficulty bringing the healer and the activist together. So I've often been lost for words because I'm thinking, I can feel that pain, I can feel that, and exactly identify with what they're saying. But it's been a slightly different way of mine to go inside, imagine a different way and sort of speak about it, or do earth acupuncture to help clean the land, or do anything that I find, which I feel I am doing something, but I've really often been lost for words with people who just have that view that actually you're doing nothing if that's what you're doing.
Doing nothing?
Yeah, if all you're doing is sending out love. So, hearing you speak has been really inspirational because it gives us a little bit of...
Oh, you mean the people who do nothing?
No, not at all. What I'm saying is sometimes I'll be speaking to activists who say that...
Oh, think that...
Yeah, so
okay.
they think
you.
we're doing nothing if we're just doing a healing role.
Yes.
So I've often thought the transition point will really be when the healers and the activists come together in an understanding.
Yes.
So what you're saying really is along those lines and, fully there with it. But I've often been lost for words with that very situation.
Yes.
With activists who are just saying that actually you're doing nothing if that's all you're doing. To go out there and throw paint on someone, or it's never been my way. So I don't want to judge what they're doing because I think it's all one. So.
Yeah. And we need both.
Yeah.
We need those people who are prepared to go and stand on the front line and put their bodies. I couldn't do that. I have huge admiration for them, absolutely huge respect and admiration, because I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I do things in a different way, and we've each got to do what is right for us. We're not all the same. We've all got different roles to play in this, but we all have to be there in whatever way, shape or form. We all have to be there. That's the important thing.
A bit like the Hobbit. I don't know why I said that, but they all come together in the end.
Yes.
A lot of the reason why Ruby and I started what I started Advaya, was because we felt there was such a disjuncture between the yogis and the people getting into meditation and mindfulness, and then on the opposite side, people engaging in social justice and environmentalism, and that it's all well and good you purifying your mind and your body, but if you're not acting to purify like the earthly body of God or the earth or whatever you want to relate to it, then are you actually purifying yourself? Are you actually healing yourself if you're not acting on the outer as well? So it's not like you need to do one, but just that how you can do both, and they can both reinforce each other, and that we all have a part to play in that as well. We have to look at the outer as well as the inner.
I just think that if things are acted in anger, it shuts people down, and a lot of people, behaviour. If people who are more conscious, say, or are more aware, or have learnt different ways of doing things, if you start to judge people, then they will automatically close down, because a lot of people have just not had that path shown to them, or they've not been shown, a more enlightened way of thinking or perceiving things, and the way to encourage that is through love and a loving approach, whereas an angry can become judgmental. I think anger can be a force that makes you galvanise yourself into action.
Yes.
So that you use your pain, your anger, your hurt into making those changes for yourself and then becoming active in the world. But you need to do that in a whole way where your anger isn't dominating your love, or nothing's being repressed, and that everything's in balance somehow. That's how you're going to be effective.
Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to ask you for your tips on communicating with trees.
Tips.
Yeah, if you
just have to love them and spend time with them and allow them to call you in, because it's a bit of a phenomenon I've noticed that some trees are quite, they're kind of like, they're not really aware of us. That's the only way I can put it, is they're not really aware of us. You know, we move far too fast, the trees. So you have to spend time, and you have to slow down, and you have to greet them and meet them and honour them, and you know, just like you would a person, but they're at a different vibration to us. So you have to be slower. And I realised that I was walking through the woods at a pace, you know, and one day I was walking really fast through the woods. And I realised that actually nobody, I call them people, nobody's taking any notice of me whatsoever. I'm just like a little fly zooming through. You know? So I think it's slow down and spend time and take the time to be with them and make friends.
And you feel the difference between the different species?
Oh, there's huge difference between the different species, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And there's difference between different trees within the same species, always. But that's when you get to know them. And then also, when you get to know them, a tree, say you had a tree and you visited that tree very frequently and really spent time with that tree, you might not think that anything's happening, but something is. And then, say, you know, weeks later, you could be walking along, and then that tree calls out to you. That tree makes contact. And it's a kind of phenomenon. And you go, whoa, oh, okay, hello. And it's, you know, you think, am I mad? Did I imagine it? But actually it does. And then the more you spend time with them, it's like people, really. The more you spend time, the more you understand and you learn and you like or don't like. Don't think there's anything not to like about trees. But some I think are more inviting than others, and some, they're a bit like that. A bit like some people. So yeah, just time and slow down, I would say, and love. Back to love. Yes. No. This lady here, this woman here's been.
I wanted to ask you about choices, because you mentioned how we have a choice. And you firmly said we have a choice, like every time, almost as I understood. And sometimes I might forget that I have a choice, and I think that I'm not the only one that forgets it. And to live in a place, for instance, like London, where you have so many things to complete and to, just to do one after the other.
Yeah.
You have to be well done, and bills need to be paid, etc. And huge, etc. So it's, I don't know how it would be if I lived in the countryside, but it's easy to forget that you have a choice. I might feel I have a choice in, for instance, how I face my day, or a particular thing that's happening that day, how that might affect me, maybe. But the choice as such, I feel that sometimes it's hard to remember that we make it. So could you talk a bit more about how to remember that we have a choice?
How to remember that you have a choice. I guess just trying to embed it, I always have a choice. You know, it's like the affirmation we made with the birch wand. You know, my intention is to remember I have a choice. and it's something you can say. I say in the shower in the morning, say when you get up. I have a choice. I have a choice how I react to this. I have a choice to be kind in this situation where actually I'm really bloody angry. You know, you have a choice to, we all have choice all the time. You have a choice to say yes, you have a choice to say no. It's just a matter of remembering that you have a choice, and I think you just have to keep telling yourself, just keep reminding yourself.
And so when we, for instance, I come from Venezuela, you might be aware of how difficult things are happening.
I'm sure I did talk about us in our privilege, in our...
Yeah, exactly. So I feel that I'm in a very privileged environment where I can be saying to myself and to others, we have a choice.
Yeah.
But when I talk to my people there, I find it's difficult
of
for them to
course.
feel that they have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the only one. Venezuela is just a case. You know, we're talking about things that are happening all around the world. So how do we pass on that message? How do we really understand? And what's the choice?
The choice is love, isn't it? Or not? Or you know, how do you react in any situation? Is what I'm saying. I don't know. I've not got all the answers.
I'd like to pin a little thing about. I think maybe
anyone else? Yeah.
Maybe there's something about courage in that it's not always easy to make a choice that is something different or something new, or maybe goes against what you're being told you should do, or what is expected of you, or what society says we should be doing. And sometimes to actively choose to do something different to that is scary, and it takes courage, and it takes us to kind of really like feel into ourselves and into what needs to be done, and then make the choice to do that rather than go along with what we're being told we should do. That's the way that I see it.
Also, you're saying about it's not like we have a choice whether to like accept and show love. It's more like we have a choice as to how we're going to respond to a certain situation, and that should always be informed by love. So if someone is creating injustice, it's like you can have a choice to feel that anger and know that that is an injustice to your people and the land that you're part of, and then to act and respond to that, and that's where the power maybe lies.
I also remember when I was talking about choice, it was about choosing to stay in separation consciousness or move ourselves into holistic consciousness. So that's what I was talking about when I was talking about choice. But anyone else has got any ideas?
I think choice is intrinsically linked with safety. I think we have got privilege and there is an entitlement that a lot of us have, and if we feel safe enough, I think there is a great opportunity to have choice and to act for those that don't have the privilege of the safety that we have.
Yeah.
Can I bring another writer into this?
Yes.
I don't know whether many people in this room have read a book by a guy called Viktor Frankl.
Yes.
Who was in a concentration camp, was a psychologist before the Second World War. And it's the most extraordinary book about man's choice in adversity and real adversity. And the fact that we do have a choice. And perhaps that choice from where we're sitting in the world of privilege is, it's hugely incomprehensible. But a book called Man's Search for Meaning, if I were sitting where you are, I would read Man's Search for Meaning, and by a guy called Viktor Frankl, Vicktor.
Yeah, Frankl.
Because it is about choice in not the world we live in.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
I think we might live in a privileged country, but it doesn't mean we don't go through our own stuff. I grew up with an extremely violent, abusive childhood, and I learned through that I had a choice to either come from a place of hate or come from a place of love and choose to forgive and move on. You need
Yes.
to live in London, and I think the choice you're talking about is even in the circumstances, which is what even in the circumstance in which you're living, you have a choice how you respond in that life, and you have a choice how you are with yourself and how you choose to be with other people.
Yeah.
So you can either choose to get caught up in that
Yeah.
anger of somebody else or that violence of somebody else. You
Yeah.
can choose to look at that with compassion.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Yeah.
power of choice.
Yeah. And that's powerful. And well done you.
Yeah.
That wasn't the point. It was
I
more
know.
me.
But I think my point about, but I think we do always have choice, whatever we, whatever you think and however you can apply it. And I don't know how I'd be in difficult situations, such as in Venezuela, if I was confronted with difficult situations, you don't know how you're going to react. But I do know that that I would hope anyway that I would choose a loving and compassionate choice. Because I believe
part
in
of the
it.
trick is to know that you do have a choice, because sometimes if you're in a terrible, I think in a very terrible situation, you can just get carried along with that and how you respond in a shocked moment or in is how you respond to that, and you can get caught in something where it's very difficult to make a choice. You're not even aware. Or someone says, well, you can choose. And you think, because you're completely underneath, you're being oppressed by something, or you're underneath there. And I think it's almost like a technique or a practice you have to learn sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
Being sort of connecting quite a lot with the Venezuelan situation, being Iraqi,
Yes.
having kind of really had to face, and living here as well, having really had to face what has happened in a country where even what we've been fed by the media is just nothing to what the reality of what's actually gone on. And I'm sure that's the same for you, that the kind of the heartbreak and the reality of what's going on there is really, what we're seeing here is just such a 1% of the reality of what's going on there, and it is to really have to face the anger and the grief and the lack of control in a place which is being destroyed, and then even in that place trying to find compassion and trying to find kindness and trying to find love. It's very easy to sit here in this country and say,
absolutely,
we should choose love and we should choose this and we should choose that. When we're not faced with the destruction, and not just destruction in our day-to-day and present life now, but destruction of history, like really deep, intrinsic history that's being destroyed, and then from that place to still find love, and from that place to still find compassion. And actually, if you talk to the people there, they really do have that. That although there is this deep grief, this deep sadness at the loss of what they've had, and the loss of what was there, that they still want peace. They still want love to be the thing that kind of comes out. And I think that it's the same as what's happening with Venezuela. So many people are having to leave their homes, leave their country, leave their history, leave their being. And still they're finding that place of love, and still they're finding that place of compassion.
Fabulous.
It's humbling.
It is very humbling. Yeah. Thank you for that.
And can I sort of, and I don't know enough about Venezuela, I'm sorry, I just thought that the parallels between what you were saying and the parallels of the destruction of the earth were very, feeling quite powerless around the media, what's happening, and how much they tell us. 1% of what they tell us is the truth of what's actually going down, and sort of that ability to sort of just try and pick out the information that is real, like seeing the trees die in my street, or just the conscious choices I make not to sort of go mental on a daily basis with the amount of litter and trash and crap and lack of consciousness around plastic and Because I mean, for me, I haven't got 30 years.
So sorry.
I don't have 30 years experience around it, but it's just that sort of, the destruction of a country and its people, and the world and its people, and people being displaced, and, countries turning into deserts, and, ice turning into
water,
and
oceans rising. There's so much, isn't there? There's so much we could get overwhelmed.
Crashing down, and then on a daily basis, my choices are.
Your choices are to do what you can in your own backyard.
Otherwise, I'll go insane.
Yeah, you have to do what you can in your own, in your own vicinity, with your own community, with the people around you. Join with the people around you. Talk to people about. One of my techniques is to talk very loudly on a bus. Talk very loudly on a bus about something that's really, that can actually, make people think. But we have to keep talking. We have to keep talking to people. And dear Claire Dubois from Tree Sisters put a little thing on my Facebook page, which was you have something about you have to get out there. You have to talk. We all have to become leaders, even if we're wrong, it doesn't matter, because some of what we say will be right. And it really sort of helped to galvanise me. Yeah, okay, get out there, talk to people. I might be wrong. Some of what I'm saying might not be right. Of course it isn't. I'm just, I'm no different from any of you. Some of what I have to say is brilliant, as we all have brilliant things to say, and some of what I have to say, maybe it's just, not quite formed yet. But it feels really important for us to be in community, be together, talk to people, make friends, make the connections, do what we can.
Sophie,
Because
do you have a
what you
question?
can, haven't you? In the face of this huge thing, it's huge.
Go on.
Hi, Glennie.
Yes.
Being quite specific about trees again.
Yes.
My friend Emma and I, we're getting distraught. We're witnessing mass tree felling up and down the country.
Oh.
Well, thinking of Sheffield.
Sheffield, but there's a lot of them have been saved.
Yeah, National Rail's like obliterating along all their tracks, all the trees. And 5G technology, they're cutting everything.
Oh yes, that's the other thing, isn't it?
I think I want to ask you, how do we deal, imagine we're all very sensitive souls in here, how do we deal with the sorrow? Sometimes it immobilises me. Another question, branching is it possible that we can communicate with the trees? I walk up to trees and say, I'm sorry, like on behalf of humanity.
Yes.
Please keep growing. I'm a gardener and I'm very conscious that new diseases are coming over as well.
Yes.
Our lungs of London, the plane trees, are very threatened at the moment.
Are they?
I suppose I'm asking you, is it possible that we can heal and we can give something to the trees and communicate with them and explain humanity's going through a blip and we're trying to wake up.
I think we have
sorry,
to.
Your cousins are being felled. Please can the rest of you keep growing?
Yes.
What do
Yes.
we do emotionally?
We don't.
Can I communicate with the trees, and more practical tips on how we can stand up for them?
We don't know if telling the trees those things has any effect at all. How can we know? But I think it's worth doing anyway. Because, I haven't got any answers. I haven't got any answers for the pain. I feel the pain so huge. I could cry. I could cry now just thinking about it. So I haven't got any answers, I'm afraid.
I and a lot of other sisters are pouring our menstrual blood back into the earth. So we're putting the nutrients back in as something to try and feel like we're doing something. And so a lot of us are doing it as practice. I'm doing some guerrilla gardening. Yeah. So I go out with my partner and I get like rosemary bushes and I go and find a patch and I put it in and I put 3 circles of menstrual blood around it and then I go back and I water it and I just hope.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And so it's become a ritual.
Yeah.
That's what
And it's
Pat
just,
was saying last
it's like-
weekend for us to do as well.
Yeah, so every time I get a bleed, I'm like, right, one more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's bleeding.
Yes.
She's on life support.
Yes.
And that's the way we look at it.
Yes.
And it feels like, even if the intention is there,
Yes. The
that's
intention.
something.
The intention is everything. It
So I've
shifts,
got
it
a
moves
little-
energy.
Yeah, I've got a little cup, and I have a cup, and I take it around.
So great.
Pat was saying that we should, that all women should be doing that if they can do that, and obviously with a menstrual cup and then to take it out. But she said also if you can't do it, to do it symbolically and with your intention.
Yeah.
If you can't physically go and pour the blood on the land, then that's something else you can do as well.
Within your little plan.
Yeah.
Your garden.
Your husband. Can I?
I wanted to say there is a South American legend story that says that the environmental disaster started when women stopped pouring the blood on earth, and that's how everything became as it is now. And there's records of grandmothers telling this story, and they're saying just come back to it. And this is something that we all as women we can do. We have no way to do.
And like a reclaiming of your relationship. Like a reclaiming of your relationship, of a woman's relationship.
Yeah, giving back the balance that we're taking over.
Sophie, did you want to say something?
I think it was more a comment to actually a few questions that have come up, and it all comes back to all being sort of one thing. But the idea of grief and the world around us, like what is happening, and I think someone over there talked about courage. And obviously, in parts of the world where you can't even begin to think how it feels, I think what's really come up for me here and through your communication of Judith, it's communication of that grief and understanding that other people are going through it as well, and finding strength in that grief and coming together. So your choice could be, it's kind of formulated through what you've been saying, your choice to have that holistic connection will be through choosing what you're surrounding yourself with. Are you choosing to be in a place of love? Are you choosing to surround yourself with people and things that are in alignment with the same love that you feel, instead of battling? And I think that was, it was more a comment really for that grief work. It's the community.
And the grief is actually creating connection.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it comfortably numb. If you just stay comfortably numb, you're just behind the wall and you're of the connection and part of the love, because you don't grieve if you don't love.
And it's coming together through that, because I think for me it so much comes down to like an energetic thing, and you coming onto the same level as the trees, like trying to not be in opposition with the way that they are, but trying to work out and feel the alignment with them.
Yeah.
That's what for me it works when I feel that I'm doing that with other people as well, and you're not living an isolated existence, and therefore that strength is multiplied when you're doing it with other people. Yeah. And same tree.
Yeah.
Just a continuation of that, and also in regards to the question you talked about sorrow. Obviously every day we're always having we're facing all these very negative, sad things that are going on in the world. And one of the tips that I learned, whenever I have these thoughts and I go into this deep sadness about what's happening, I always then raise my frequency before I finish the thought back to love, to keep in love consciousness. And that is such a key, because whether it's an angry at a partner, at the world, or whatever, have that thought, feel it, but then raise yourself back to love. Because this is the total consciousness you're talking about. This is the love, and this is the only way, I believe, we will evolve energetically, consciously, is to keep our thoughts in love. So have that thought, feel that pain, but go back there. The more we connect, the higher the frequency, the more we will raise, the more we will hear what you're talking about. So,
Sorry, in line with that, it's like knowing what that looks like, because we don't get that in the media.
but we know what exactly.
So knowing what that love looks like, how to respond in a loving way and a higher conscious way. It's not, I won't get that from my family. You know, I have to find the people, like seeing the absolutely, learning the language. What does it look like? I wish there was more, you know, and I wish it was.
That's the beauty of love, though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's that beauty. It's finding it.
It's knowing what that language is, because language is so important. The way we honour somebody else, the way we speak, I hear you, you know, I resonate. You know, those words are like, I use them all the time, and my friends do as well, but you know, it's not common. And I think it's that sort of, you know, that vibration of love, like taking it out and really speaking
that's
my
exactly
truth.
what it is, absolutely. I mean, everything is vibration. We are pure frequency. And so if every time when we go into that pain, we lower our frequency level. And that is just then getting into the habit of then lifting, okay, have that low vibe feeling, that sadness that I see in the world, I'm going to lift it back up, because then when we meet the next person or the next experience, we're back at a frequency and we can handle it from such a beautiful place. So it's such, you know, when I first learned that, I was like, wow, how wonderful to be able to get myself back there again. And it is, like you said, once you practice, it's like morning rituals, ceremonies that we have in our life. Once we do them, and the more we do them, the quicker we go back there.
Yeah.
And it's just habit. You've just got to just take yourself back there, even if you write it on your hand to get to the habit.
Yeah, anything to remember. Yeah.
Just here, sorry, quickly.
Yeah.
I was just reflecting on hearing these things about the really beautifully cyclical nature of trying to heal the earth and our relationship with her and being healed by her at the same time, the way the two things happen cyclically. And I noticed that, you know, I'm an environmental activist lawyer, and I found I wrote my first blog about this fact that I found my local park a real source of solace after burnout. And then there were trees in the park that were felled as part of the development, which was absolutely heartbreaking. I've been going to that park since I was 7. I know it so well, and it was just this massive, massive shock to see them. Yeah. And it took me a couple of weeks before I could even go back. And yet I was there, and I was kind of steeled. I was going to sit. You could go on to that park because it had all been fenced off. So I was just trying to, you know, be with it, bear witness, and try and sort of send love across this pond area. And I was there, and I had some flower offerings from my temple. I put them into the water, and I just sent love. And even in that space, I noticed where I was, there were hazel fronds, there were trees, the birds were singing. There was so much resilience in these two completely opposite states in the same place. And that ability, even in that heartbreak and feeling that pain, of being soothed and healed by nature in that same space. And it was so beautiful. And this particular area, and this is just fascinating as well for the city-country dichotomy. It's a country park that, you know, for thousands of years was public forest and was hunting forest, and lots of those trees are ancient woodland. And you kind of had that sense that where, a bit like you were saying, it's almost like a blip. So this is happening, but this space has been forest space for so long, for a point when people knew how to live with the forest. And this idea, this longer, more resilient, more powerful. She's a powerful being, you know?
Yes.
So there's that aspect as well. She's in pain, and we're doing awful things, but overall she will have the last word.
Sure, absolutely.
And that was a really powerful healing, allowing that as well, not going into that sort of saviour, over-saviour kind of, you know, we have to, you know, it's up to us in the sense of we're bigger and more powerful than you, and we're actually not.
No. But I will say as well, exactly that the earth will survive. It just won't necessarily survive in the way that we can survive in it. And we you know, what we can do is help the earth in helping her to restore, because she can restore. She can easily restore her complex systems. All her complex systems will get restored, but and we can help do that, and we can stop the destruction. You know, there's so much being destroyed, but it's like stopping any more.
Yeah,
Isn't
and
it?
when it gets too much, when that struggle gets too much, we can lean on her to help us.
Yeah,
That's the beauty
that's what
of
you're
it.
saying.
That was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
the most powerful,
fantastic.
beautiful
Yeah.
feeling I had there.
And all these amazing, you know, earth lawyers like Polly Higgins, you know, who are you know, all sorts of things we're putting in, you know, power to the earth, power for the earth. Yeah, I'm hugely excited about all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, perhaps common thread going back to Venezuela and other things, but it's something I've been using for a while, and I don't know if it's useful for anyone else. But I started off using it when I had to organise, say, a little space in a party or do something like a project, and I didn't know how it was going to happen, so I had a bit of fear coming up, and I'd imagine it like a tree, and I'd say to it, grow yourself, and I want that, you know, I don't have to be in the middle. So bring to yourself whatever you need to grow and just get on with it.
Yeah.
So I'd find the right people were talking to each other at the right time, things were happening, resources were coming in, and then I started using it everywhere and in everything. So it was like a kind of, you know, the one tree, and I would just feed it with love, with that good feeling, just seeing the end result as the project, not really getting in the way and saying how it's going to come about. And I feel it's maybe a way of that same Venezuelan situation, or a project, or something in the world that we don't quite know, well, how's that going to change? So I wrote an article for Overboard in Touchstone magazine, exactly just detailing this, and everyone was really saying, well, you know, that's really practical. So I felt maybe I could share that, because I've used it for a long time, and I found that it's helped me overcome fear, procrastination, and, you know, everything that gets in the way. So yeah, maybe it's
So is it like picturing the end result?
Yeah.
That's you know, picture the end result as you want it. Use your imagination. Our imaginations are so powerful.
Imagining that's the project.
Imagine the end result, and you don't necessarily have to know how it's going to get there.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
Hold that.
Yeah.
Hold
just
that
keep
thought.
on it. And in your mind, you might see other things coming in, the fence being broken down or something. Fix it in your mind. Imagine it safe, imagining it growing, feeding it with that love. And in the end, you know, it might not happen. And it might not happen straight away. But I've seen miraculous results in what I've been doing in small ways. And things have just happened, and I've gone, wow, you know, thank you.
Yeah.
But I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. But you pictured it in the first place.
Yeah, that was all. And I let it go on with it.
Does anyone have any other questions? Yeah?
I'm trying to find the report actually, but I was reading the other day something that actually is pretty simple, but of course what is simple is always very complex. But to mitigate climate change, we ought to just plant more trees.
Yes.
And there has been this report that was giving a number with I don't know how many zeros, so I don't know if it would be billion or trillion, or I'm trying to refine the exact number. But then I managed to put the zero, sufficient zero, and then sufficient zero in terms of like we are 7 billion people on the planet, so I managed to count the zero, right? And then I was trying to count how many trees does it make per person to actually, you know, get into mitigated climate change. And it was making 143 trees per person.
Okay.
And it may sound, I mean, I don't know how it feels in you, like oof, you know, or yeah, or I can do it. And I just recently come back from Schumacher College, where I've been doing some horticulture training, and I was back after 2 years to see the state of Henrysfield. I think many people have been in Schumacher College, maybe here as well. And Henrysfield has been growing for 6-7 years now, and there are like alleys of trees between planting rows and so on. And maybe you know Ella. I don't know who knows Ella Sparks here. I don't know how many people know her, but she's a grower at Schumacher College, and she stayed after growing there, and she's now having a tree nursery in Henrysfield. And it was just amazing because she had in this small plot, she had 4,000 baby trees. And she had hazel, she had many different actually species ready to be then actually sold further, but like passed on for people having an agroforestry project. And when I see her, I mean, she's like 26, she's just a poor woman in my eye because she just go for it. She doesn't think, oh my God, is it too much, too little, can I make it, and so on. No, she got to actually get training in Ireland with the right person, but it was just a person on her journey, life journey, and now she's also into tree nurseries. And when she does it, it looks pretty simple, and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm grateful to you, Ella, because I just counted that I need to plant 143, and I just feel that you've done it for me and for for that person and that person. So it feels very, of course, I still want to plant 143 and more, ideally. But it's not so difficult if you get with actually,
I think that we all need to be planting and engaging in that, but if we don't sort out the state of mind which has created the issues that we're having to fix now, we can spend the rest of our lives planting trees, and I hope that we will do that. 100% we should all do that, but that if we're not understanding why it is we're so addicted to consumerism and addicted to this feeling that we need to keep creating things which are damaging not only ourselves, others, and the land that we stand on, to feel more whole and more complete, and that to fill this void, then the problems will just proliferate. So I definitely think that planting trees is really important, but I think that if we all went and planted 150 trees, I don't know if the problems would be.
But I think that by planting trees, you fix yourself as well, because it's like by planting trees, the very act. I mean, we can sit and meditate here in the room in the middle of London and try to bring love to ourselves, and I'm sure it would generate a halo of energy around that would be healing. But I think even more powerful is to do and bring this love while doing the act of having your hands in soil and planting things out. So I think it goes together. It's not
very good for you.
Yeah. It's this thing that is one basically. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know what's the name of the report. It's a really interesting report to check out. But also I wanted to ask then to Glennie about, so actually, do trees have emotions in the way that they are angry at us, or that they are hopeful, or
I've never met it. I've never met anger. I have met anger from a tree once, actually. A tree once told me to go away. Yes, no, blackthorn. Yeah, blackthorn can be angry. Definitely. But anger about the state of the world. I've never met that. But that doesn't mean to say it's not there. I don't know. There's the answer to that one.